know. You're going to say, Chuck, didn't you tell us a couple of weeks ago you were going to put that watering system up? Yes, Chuck did tell you that a couple of weeks ago. Chuck didn't get it done. But the little rascals have had plenty to drink is the main thing. But the way I'm going to have to build a little shelf, I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that bucket that's on top of the buck cage, and you probably can't see me because I walked over that way. But, well, I'll swivel over there. Okay, yeah, now you can see me. But on that buck cage over there, let me see if you can tell where I'm pointing here. On that buck cage that's around on the side of the building, there's a bucket sitting on top of it. I'm going to take that bucket and I'm going to rework the hose, and I'm going to put a shelf right here above the door. And I'm going to put that bucket on the shelf. And then what I'm going to do, there's a shelf I'm going to put right here and put the bucket on top of it. I might scoot it over to the side so when we're filling it, we don't have to shoot water on that electrical wire right there. Probably put it on one side or the other. But then I'm going to put a T, and I'm going to run hose from over here around the top of that cage, and then I'm going to run down to a piece down to each spigot. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run along here with a piece of hose and down there to those two cages, and on each cage I'm going to put in a T and run a piece down to the spigot here. And I'm going to put a hay rack on here, just like I did on that one. Get me in, it's cold outside. Over here, folks. I'm going to drink from the hose. I'm going to die. Dig me a hole, folks. I'm going to die. I see that stuff all over the internet. You can't drink from a plastic hose or a rubber hose or a garden hose, you'll die. Folks, I've been doing that. Let's see. How old am I? Almost 42. I've been doing that for 40 years. If that would kill somebody, I'd be dead a long time ago.
We all would.
So anyway, these guys are 10 or 11 weeks old now. Haven't had any takers on them yet. What I found out about the mini wrecks is I price them a certain way, and then they want to wait until they're old enough to breed, and then they want to buy them for that same price. It always upsets them when I raise the price another 10 bucks because I've had to feed them for 3 months. Last but not least in our brood does, this is Zoey. She's a little witch that pulled a little vanishing act on a whole litter of babies. Right, baby? Now she's a little, at times, she don't like to be messed with a whole lot. She will probably make me have to scruff her, but we'll see. Nope. What's the matter with you, baby? Not that I'm complaining, but that's so unlike you. Is it because you're so full of babies you can't fight with me? Oh, she's a big girl. I haven't weighed her in a while, but she's by far the heaviest. Well, I ain't going to say the heaviest. I don't think she'll outweigh Sally or Rosie. But she's quite a bit. I'd say she's a good pound and a half heavier than Sangria, whatever she weighs. But Zoey, I believe she is bred with Romeo this time. Last time we tried her with Jazz, and, you know, she missed. This time we're going to try her with, or we have tried her with Romeo. Romeo is the same. I'm sorry if it's hard to look at her eye. It gets a little matted and crusty. Her eyeball is in there, but I don't know. Something about her not having the use of that eye. That eye is real bad about getting matted and crusty. I don't know if it's maybe because she doesn't blink normally when something flies up to her eye because she can't see or whatever. It's hard to look at, folks. I understand. I mean, other than taking a warm rag and keeping that washed and what have you, and occasionally we'll take and put just over the, you know, she'll close the eye, of course, but we'll take and rub a little Neosporin ointment or something on her eye and try to help keep any infection away. I am going to attempt palpation here, but now technically she's not at the point in her gestation period if she did conceive. that I would palpate. She's only about 10 or 12 days along, and I like to wait till 14. But this isn't the best way to do it either, folks. So I'm not. I mean, I don't feel anything. So the best way is to set her down. You can see, Big Zoey is a little long in the shoulder, but other than that, she's got a pretty nice. Once you get past her shoulder, she's a pretty nice bunny. And the good news is Romeo has some pretty nice shoulders. So we just might end up with some pretty nice kids. Doesn't mean they're all going to be. Folks, trust me. If you're raising bunnies for show quality, and you're raising them to show, every rabbit that you raise is not going to go to the show. It's not going to be show quality. You have to call, and call hard. Out of a litter of 5, you'll be doing good if you get 1 or 2 that's fitting to take to a show. But the better quality your mamas and daddies, your breeding stock is, the better quality your kits are going to be. So you might, if your budget will let you, if you're getting into bunnies, you should splurge for the best quality breeding stock that you can afford, and that's going to pay off for you in the long run. That's what we've done. We've ended up at, we get 1 rabbit here, 1 rabbit there, and it takes a long time. One good thing about being the breeder is I get to pick mine first before, and that's the same opportunity that any other breeder that I bought from had. No breeder sells the best rabbit in their barn. If they do, they've got 2 that are just as good, and they keep one and sell the other one. Other than that, they're going to keep, or at least what they think is the best rabbits for themselves, to carry on their bloodline and to show for themselves, and so on and so forth. And they're going to sell the rest. Now that doesn't mean the rest of them are bad rabbits. It just means it's not the best that they had. Well, when you get to the point where you're raising your own, that's when you don't have to take second best anymore. You can pick the very best. It took me a long time. I started off, 20-something years, I had rabbits. We didn't do nothing but eat rabbits. They were all crossbreeds, and I couldn't have told you what a New Zealand rabbit was supposed to look like, much less a mini Rex or anything else. Now I know that there's 50-something different breeds, and a lot of them have names I can't even pronounce right. It's taken me a long time to get where I'm at with these rabbits, and trust me, folks. All I'm saying is, if it takes you a while to get you a good line of rabbits going, don't think you're any worse off than anybody else. Go over there and email PJ and ask her how long she's been breeding rabbits. How long it's taken her to get to the rabbits she has now. Okay? Get a hold of Rum's Buns Rabbitry and ask them how long they've been raising rabbits. Contact Basile Borden's Rabbitry and ask them how long they've been raising rabbits. How long it took them to get the quality of breeding stock that they have now. Now, I'm not saying that I have anything that's even close to anything they've got. I'm saying I've got way better than what I used to have, and it's taken me a long time to get there. And if anybody else can get there any quicker than I did, more power to them. But it takes time, it takes work, it takes dedication. Not that there ain't anybody else on the planet that can do it. It just depends on how involved you want to. So that's Zoey. She's due to kindle as well on the 28th if she's got any buns in the oven. Like I said, it's a little bit early for us to tell. So let's move on around. Let's get this show on the road.
Sit up here.
Remember, Zoey might have been still in the house the last time we did a full update. Here's my big buddy. There's my big baby. Come here, guy. Uh-oh, he's not happy now. He realized I was going to pick him up. He's a big baby. He don't mind being handled, really. This is Zoey. This is our big buddy.
He's a clipping too.
Yeah, he's an old man. I think in February or March, I think he's going to be big 3 years old. He's still a pretty good breed buck. I don't know, at his age it seems like he lacks in stamina a little bit. But I'm hoping when the weather's cooler like this winter, I'm hoping that we can get more better breedings out of him. Because I would like to get some breedings going that I could keep some nice stock out of. Just so he's covered for when he gets to that point where he just can't do his job anymore, which it don't matter. Zoey's not one of those. He's not going to end up in the crock pot. He'll end up somebody's pet once he's through. He might end up my pet. Of course, Aurora's our house bunny. She takes up most of our time. Of course, Rosie's in there. Uh-oh. Golly, buddy. you're gonna crack a bone doing that. But he is. Rosie's in the house too. We've got another big cage, and Rosie's in the house, but she doesn't really run around. You know, just pull. We let her out and let her run around, but Aurora pretty much has the run of the house. And Aurora, her cage is that far up off the ground.
The little sneaker can jump out of it.
With a little fold-down door. And even though one of her front paws is missing, she'll jump up there and grab a hold of that door and push herself up into the cage. And then she'll go in there and she'll lay down a while, take a nap, get something to eat, drink some of her water. And then if it ain't time,
she's gone again.
She'll jump back out of the cage and take off doing what rabbits do all around the house. She don't make a mess.
She is litter box trained.
For those of you that don't know, you can litter box train a rabbit, but it is not perfect. Just so you know, you litter box train a bunny, that takes care of 90% of the mess. But they will use it whenever they need to go pee. They will go back to that box and go pee. And she will poop in it. But we do find pellets on the floor that we have to go around behind her and sweep up. Thank goodness we have a hardwood floor. It makes cleanup nice and easy, and any residue or anything gets cleaned up when the floor is mopped. So we deal with it that way. A lot of people, that grosses them out. If you don't love rabbits, you're not going to put up with that. So there's no need, you know, you can compare apples to oranges all you want to, but if you're not a rabbit person, you're not going to tolerate something like that in the first place. So, you know, maybe you'd rather have a cat. You know, no two people are the same. It's just something. We've got dogs, cats, and rabbits in the house now. We just love animals. We don't care what they are. All right, come here, Romeo.
You'll probably have to scruff him. Fortunately.
Well, he was doing good when we was taking him to the show and everything. There, I can do him like that. But
there we go.
It's been a little while since then. See, he's lightening up in places a little bit in color. I think he's going to blow some more fur out. Oh, he's blowing. See that hair flying out? Let's see back here. Hang on, buddy. They usually blow fur out the worst around their tail, around their hindquarters. Yeah, see that hair? This is my pride and joy right here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Saw guy, I'm very proud to have him, and what have you. But this little guy is still going to be with us and going strong. When Saw guy is, you know, he's getting up in age a little bit, and he's slowing down. That doesn't mean he's done, right, buddy? He ain't too old to cut the mustard. He just can't spread it around as good as he used to. But Romeo says I can spread it just fine.
He's still got lazy ears.
Yeah, he's got lazy ears. I don't think it'll be genetic or anything, but we'll see. It wasn't a fault. The judge didn't even mention it when he was at the show. He won a best of variety. There was good and bad. Okay, Sangria and Romeo were the two reds that we took to the show in Murfreesboro. They both took a best of variety. They both took an opposite sex variety. That's the good news. The bad news is they were the only two reds there, so obviously they're going to take the best of those two. Okay, so we were the only two reds there, so it wasn't a leg, you know, and the only competition each one of them had was the other one. And in show A, one was best of variety, best red, and the other one was best opposite. And then they just flipped for show B. They did exactly the opposite. So they were the only reds there. That's, you know, am I ashamed of that? Well, I would have liked to have won that and had a little competition, of course. But hey, you know,
There's always Jonesboro this spring.
well, we'll just have to see who's in condition.
All right.
April's a pretty good month though for condition-wise, even on the bucks. We'll just have to see. I'm hoping having these dividers in between our bucks will help a lot, because see, even though he's red and it doesn't show up as much, they still get that sticky, wiry feeling to their coat if they spray each other real bad. See how nice and soft and smooth and his coat flies back? If he was housed next to a buck that had been spraying him, like Saw Guy had been sprayed whenever we picked him up. Saw Guy really bucky whenever we picked him up, you know, and he had he had sticky fur everywhere. But hopefully these dividers will prevent a lot of that. I might have to get some metal of some kind and make some dividers for another cage, because it's getting to the point I'm getting almost as many bucks as I am doe. Okay, this guy is a guy that you've not met before. He's a mini Rex. He is a broken blue. This is Blueberry. We've only had him just a little under a month. He is finally blowing all that old nastiness out. He came to us. He had been housed in an environment at some point where he was getting wet, and it ruined his coat. The good news is a lot of that since then has been blown out, but some of it, see this right in here, and this could be too. Some of that could be being housed next to a buck, but a lot of this I've gone over. This is new, but
his fur also has been chewed on.
Well, I mean, right now it's got places. See right in here, it looks like it's been chewed on, but it hasn't. That's the old fur pushing the new. That's the new fur pushing the old fur out, and it's leaving waves in it where it's growing back where the old's come out already, and the new hasn't quite fully grown back in. But you remember how nasty? I don't know if I showed y'all on camera, but if I did, if you remember how nasty Pepper was, there for a while he had hair, and it looked like almost bald spot on his back, and it finally moved through his whole body. And once all that was blown out, he was just a gorgeous guy, just like he was the day we got him at 8 weeks old. And you know, it's just, and that's just what molting will do. But Blueberry is gonna continue, and it looks like he's gonna do a full molt, which is good because that's what he needs. See the discoloration, and this is where the tips of the fur are sticking together and what have you. It's just nasty, folks. And this was all like that up on his back. But now you can see that kind of looks ragged up on his back, but that's because a lot of it's blown out. And a lot of it, like right here, this hasn't seen. Oh, hey, you there? He usually likes being handled. Might be holding him out here in the sun and getting hot, maybe a little harder. Anyway, he is a broken blue. See, no triangle behind his ears. See how the color is different? See how it's not white and it's light looking inside? See how he doesn't have the lining? See how he doesn't have the chestnut colored markings around his ear? He is just a regular broken blue. He's not a broken blue otter. Yeah, more than there so bad. Okay, now last but not least, here's my old standby. This is my little buddy, Smitty. Come here, buddy. See, Smitty, he knew what I was going to do. He didn't mind me picking him up at all. He just loves to be handled. Yeah, he's my big buddy. See that pretty black? The only problem with Smitty is you'll see he's got some old fur, and see how it looks rusty? It looks like a rusty dark brown chocolate color in there. That fur that he's going to blow out, I hope. I don't remember him having rusty fur like that before. He should have a nice shiny black sheen to his coat, but he doesn't. He's got a rusty, and it's kind of like in waves.
Bless you, Junior.
So, but anyway, this is Smitty, and he is, ouch, here, easy buddy.
Excuse you.
Seriously? Seriously, you come over here and burp on my video? Junior, go lay down. You don't want to hear your bodily functions. Go on. It's like having a bunch more kids. If Austin was out here, he'd have done the same thing. This is Smitty. Hey, Smitty needs a mani-pedi. I think we're just going to have to go through and make a day of it or something, an afternoon or something, and just start pulling everybody out and set up a table out here and get them all done. The ones that don't need it, we can at least get them out and check them. And they're needing I think it's been a little while since we actually had everybody out and just did a good once over and gave them a good vet check anyway. Checking their ears and everything. You know, we found fur mites on Sangria. You know, obviously that all worked out. You know, you saw the litter. But see, he's one of them. He knows that a lot of times when I come over here and open that cage door, when he sees me, he pretty well knows that bringing him a lady friend, I'm usually the one that does it. But then again, he's sweet to everybody, so that may not have nothing to do with it. I'm trying to think. We raised him from he was about 8 weeks old. He was just he was just old enough to be legal for sale in Arkansas. Let's put it that way. I want to say that he's pushing 8 months old now. Anyway, he's one of them. He's another one of them I'm proud of. I may be, but I may. And it's kind of a dilemma because even though these are not what I call eating rabbits,
There it goes.
You still can't keep them all. You know what I'm saying? You still can't keep them all. Because there comes a time, if I keep my own breeding stock from my own does, chances are he's going to be their daddy. Either him or Blueberry. Well, then when you start keeping breeding stock from those, you got to turn around and breed daddy back. And that's not always a desirable way of doing it. So one of these days, Smitty may have to move on down the line. And that's just one of those things that a breeder, myself, I get attached, and it's one of those things I have to deal with. But usually when I let a breeder go, I'm pretty particular about where it goes. You know, if I've kept it long enough to learn its personality and get it and become friends with it, I'm pretty particular about who ends up having it. I don't know how many videos this is going to end up being by the time I divide it. I think this is about an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of video footage that we've shot so far. Folks, I'm just going to cut it off here. Hi folks, this is Morgan. This is another one of our new additions that you haven't seen yet. She is a tricolored mini Rex. She doesn't like to be held much. She is a fawn and blue, so she's a dilute. Right. You can also get the tricolors. They also come in orange and black. We're going to try to raise. Unfortunately, Morgan, she came with only a partial pedigree, so she does not have a full pedigree, but we're going to try to work on that and maybe keep some generations or something and get that completed. A lot of people around here seem to have started to show an interest in the tricolors, and so we're going to try to see if we can't raise a few. This is the only tricolored mini Rex that we have. But if you know anything about tricolor, basically all a tricolored rabbit is a broken harlequin. If you've seen a rabbit that has a harlequin pattern, you breed that harlequin pattern rabbit to a broken rabbit and you can get some tricolors. A lot of people don't know that, but that's how it happens. A tricolor is just, they call it a tricolor, but it is a broken rabbit. It's a broken harlequin. That's how you get the two colors plus the white. Okay, the harlequin naturally has the two colors. The broken takes some of that color away and puts the white in. Okay, that's the way that works. So this is Morgan. Morgan is, I said earlier that Squirrely Girl was the only rabbit that was not bred. I take that back. I had forgot about these two ladies. They're actually still in quarantine, so they haven't been added. Okay, that's enough. She's getting upset. And Morgan has been known to bite. Okay, well anyway, that's Morgan. So she wasn't in the back because she's still technically in quarantine. Okay, this little lady is Jasmine. Now Jasmine might look a little bit familiar to you because we had a look at her brother earlier. Her brother from the same litter is Blueberry, our broken blue buck. A mini Rex buck. It's hard to tell because she's got some nastiness here for the same reason that she needs to blow out and get rid of, and she will eventually. It's just taking time. This right here, all this up here was like that too, and it's taking time. But folks, don't pull a bunch of fur out of a rabbit and then scratch your nose. That's just stupid. But I did it anyway. Jasmine's pretty nice. She's sweet. She don't mind being held quite as bad as Morgan does. So she's gonna do like an ostrich and stick her head in the sand there. She comes from a, I didn't mention this in the video earlier with Blueberry, but they are litter mates, and they come from a rabbitry up in northern Illinois, and they come from Thumping Trails Rabbitry. I don't remember exactly where it is. I know she said it was in northern Illinois somewhere, and so they've come quite a ways to live here in northeast Arkansas. They're a couple of pretty nice bunnies. Blueberry is a little big in size, but other than that, I've weighed Jasmine several times. She's not bred or anything, although she is proven. She has had litters, and we're just hoping that she's gonna make us a nice brood doe. We wanted to add brokens. I wanted to add brokens to the herd for quite some time. You know, we had Blossom. I ended up Blossom and Aphrodite. They went to a very good home. They're not with us anymore. I thought I'd already told you guys that, so that's why I didn't mention that when we went through the rabbits earlier. But Aphrodite and Blossom have gone to a good home. They are well taken care of.
They're not too far from us.
Oh yeah, they're not too far away. Just about, I don't know, 10, 12 miles. So, you know, a family, you know, rabbit breeding runs in their runs in his family too.
They should be due to have babies soon.
They didn't have babies.
Oh, they didn't.
Yep. So
They're gonna be making a visit.
yep, they'll be coming back for a visit because anyway, I'm just standing here petting a rabbit, not really saying a whole bunch, but this is the last rabbit. We've got Rosie and Aurora inside, but you've seen those guys and they're running around in there, and I'm not gonna try to catch them. We'll get them next time. This is gonna cut it in finally to our last video. Again, I don't know how many parts this video is gonna end up being, maybe 5 or 6. Shoot, I don't know, but I'll try to shoot them out every day or two until I get them all. Everybody's been asking for a rabbitry update. You've now seen everybody up to date that is in or belongs to Crow's Nest Rabbitry, with the exception of Rosie, the big white New Zealand, and Aurora, the little broken black New Zealand. And if you follow us on Facebook, you've seen a video recently of Aurora running around on the living room floor and throwing litter out of the litter box all over the living room floor. So y'all already seen her in the video anyway. She's making good use of that one front paw of hers. She was throwing litter all over out of the cat box all over the living room floor. So we're gonna try to find a broom that she can hold with one paw, so she can clean up after herself. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed all of this. Hope you don't get too bored and fast forward over too much of it. We appreciate you watching. Y'all have a great day. God bless.